More and more Trump voters are finally waking up.
And I didn't even know what happened on January 6th prior to the PBS documentary. And I looked at him and I said, Scott, did that really happen? And he was like, where have you been?
With some of them even admitting that they were kind of in a cult.
What MAGA does provide is a place where people feel seen and heard and recognized, and some of their very valid fears and concerns are acknowledged and validated.
And while most of us will forever side-eye them anyway for voting for somebody like this.
Under the last administration, Sleepy Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats, I changed the name. It's dumb. I will probably always, until they become reasonable, I'll use a U instead of an E. It's very simple. Most people don't know there's a B in dumb, so it's a very simple change. I take out the E and I put in the U, and they're Democrats.
At least they're coming back to their senses now, speaking out against Trump and hopefully waking up other MAGA cultists just in time for the midterms.
It's so hard for people, because I said it's not that you're dumb, you were fooled. That's incredibly hard to admit.
But I'm Jew, welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
And MS Now's David Noriega, who's been covering fractures in the MAGA movement in Trump's second term. Sawyer, I thought this was supposed to be a party for the country. Why does it seem like it's a party for him?
Yeah, I think Tom Nichols had it exactly right there. I mean, I think great presidents would use this as an opportunity to unify the country and to elevate the country, really. And Donald Trump has clearly just using it to divide America and elevate himself. And it's really to his detriment, because it's such an opportunity to kind of bring the country together behind kind of shared history, shared ideals. And instead, it just becomes a political rally.
It just always looks so goofy to me. His ties are always too long. Why has nobody ever fixed Trump's tie? Maybe that's how he likes his ties worn. They're just way too long. But everything is always about Trump. That's what dictators do. They put their face all over everything. They put their name all over everything. Like Trump in the Kennedy Center. Or all these buildings in D.C. with flags with his face on them. Why would he be doing that? No other president has ever named things after themselves. Because the truth is, none of these presidents own anything. They're just doing a job for a short period of time until the next person comes along. He does not own D.C. or anything else to be branding it under Trump.
Like everything he touches, it just turns to a complete hacky mess. I mean, the reflecting pool, the ballroom, Iran, everything he touches just completely turns into a cheap-looking mess. And that's exactly what you saw in that event. You have states pulling out of America's 250th anniversary celebration. You have big musical artists essentially conned into performing there, only to realize that this is going to be a MAGA rally. It's really just kind of it's a pathetic turn of events at what should be a rallying point for the country.
He is trying to make the nation's capital, the country, in his image.
Yeah, the capital belongs to us. It is for everyone. And the fact that he is doing a Trump MAGA rally on July 4th really puts into focus. But anyone that visits Washington, D.C. right now can see how it has changed. Yes, there's now a giant tarp over the Kennedy Center because he got his name stripped off, but he still put his name on it. He put his name on the Institute of Peace, which is right by that building.
It's so crazy because my oldest daughter performed at the Kennedy Center as part of like a children's musical. And it's just such a nice, eloquent, historical building. You feel like you're really somewhere important when you sit there. And for Trump to have needlessly put his name on that building and basically force all these acts to pull out of performing there, and the building basically be shut down at this point, it's really insanity. No president has named things after themselves while they were in office. If anything, things were named after presidents, or statues were put up, or memorials or whatever after they were out of presidency, after most of them died. For Trump to be doing this dictator-like shit broad day in front of everybody, it's just crazy. He is not afraid of any consequences or repercussions for anything that he does.
Wrecked the reflecting pool, which is just around the road. You drive down Pennsylvania Avenue and you see federal buildings with his face and banners covering it. He wants to put that gaudy Arc de Trump, which I call the Eagle Arch, in the middle of the view between Lincoln and the Arlington National Cemetery, which was designed so people could reflect on the Civil War and all the sacrifices that were made in this country. And he wants to put himself in the middle of it. And none of this belongs to him. I mean, this is why it's such a gross abuse of power. It's not just, well, Trump is an egomaniac. None of it belongs to him. The capital city is ours. He did not get permission to do any of this, to spend any of this money. And it's just being thrown in our faces.
Privately, Trump has also mused about the possibility of topping the arc with a replica of his own fist raised as he cried, "Fight, fight, fight," after a 2024 assassination attempt. Angela, who wants that?
I mean, he does. And obviously people that want to curry favor with him. He already has a 22-foot Don Colossus statue at Trump Doral. So he's done something similar already, which is the fight, fight, fight thing. And he put that portrait in the White House. So he does. And the people that want to curry favor with him. And he'll put it out there, see how people respond. But it's part of the larger story we're telling here. He's shaping the physical world around us, in most cases breaking it. He's stamping all of our institutions as well and destroying them in the same way.
Yeah, isn't Trump putting his face on all of the passports in the U.S.? Yeah, look at this awful shit. Who wants Trump on their passport? We're probably going to get tomatoes thrown at us if we show up in other countries with Trump on our passports. This is ridiculous. It is so crazy. I hope Trump and all of his sycophants are held accountable for everything that they've done to this country.
He's putting his stamp on all the things that sort of make America America.
But you've actually been speaking with former MAGA loyalists who are beginning to see the light.
Beginning to see the light is crazy work. This man tweeted himself as Jesus Christ, tweeted the Obamas as apes, got us in an entire war with Iran.
He is not worthy of the presidency. He takes bribes blatantly, and now he's being a racist.
He's destroyed modern politics and economics as we know it.
So I found out that there was this support group, essentially, for people who have left MAGA, and it's called Leaving MAGA is the name of the support group. And
a support group for people who left MAGA called Leaving MAGA. Hey, whatever works.
I was initially a little bit skeptical because they talked about it in cult terms, right? They offer de-radicalization resources, therapy for them and family members, etc. And I've reported on cults before, and I thought it was important to make sure that we understand that, supporting Donald Trump is not, in fact, a cult. It is a political ideology. It's the dominant political ideology. Voting for Trump does not mean you're a member of a cult. But I met with these people. I met with a group of 5 of them.
Where?
In Fort Lauderdale, which is where the group is based. There are corners of MAGA that are, in fact, very cult-like. And we're talking about the way that Trump is reshaping the physical world. He has also completely reshaped the worldview of many people in this country in a way that is not concerned with empirical truth, right? And so when you spend years of your life in a place like that, a headspace like that, and then suddenly something causes you to reassess it, it's not easy to suddenly transition out of that. So, let's play a little bit of the interview that I did so that we can talk about it. So let's listen to that and then talk on the other side. Hearing you guys talk about MAGA and about supporting Trump, it sounds like you're talking often about like a cult that's damaging.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We all have a need for community. Our species yearns for a communal existence. And what MAGA does provide is a place where people feel seen and heard and recognized, and some of their very valid fears and concerns are acknowledged and validated.
Being xenophobic and racist? Would that be the community you're looking for and the concerns that you have? Black people and immigrants taking over?
We used to say, we're not in the cult, the outside world is the cult, and we're not the crazies, the outside world are the crazies.
So just to add a little bit more detail to that, one of the people you saw in that group for a long time was deep in the online tradwife subculture. One of the women you saw in that group, she actually believed in household voting, like the idea that women shouldn't vote, instead their husbands should vote on their behalf. That's how deep some of these people go. So extracting themselves from that is difficult. The thing that I think is really, really interesting about this, just a detail given the election results in New York, a lot of these folks, when they stopped voting for Trump, they didn't go to conventional Democrats. They went towards democratic socialists. They're huge Mamdani fans, right?
It's an interest in system disruption, which I think we've understood, that there's a populism that is rising globally that is bigger than any single figure. But I also thought there was another interesting part of the conversation that you had with all of these folks, and that was about their media consumption and how once their media consumption changed, so did a lot of their thinking. Let's play that sound, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Yeah, once they get in that MAGA echo chamber, that algorithm that just continuously feeds them everything they already believe and want to hear anyway.
MAGA's built an entire identity around the appearance of strength. They want you to believe they are the adults in the room. They want a strong man. They define strength as obedience, dominance, and power that can be enforced. It's rooted in the fear of being left behind, a fear that their ideology is losing ground. Society is becoming more inclusive, more multiracial, and willing to challenge old hierarchies, and that terrifies them.
And they made me watch a documentary on January 6th, and I didn't even know what happened on January 6th prior to the PBS documentary. And I looked at him and I said, Scott, did that really happen? And he was like, where have you been?
So basically, she never turned off Fox News or was always on X, on the right-wing racist side of X, where it's basically a cushioned, fabricated, bizarro world that, again, tells them exactly what they already know or want to hear.
It's so hard for people, because I said it's not that you're dumb, you were fooled. That's incredibly hard to admit.
We are in the United States of algorithms right now, and MAGA media.
All of these people look 40, 50, 55. There's no way that you're going to sit here and tell me you were fooled into believing in MAGA, into becoming a racist, because I think anybody that votes MAGA is racist, anti-black. You're not going to tell me as a full-grown adult, because these people would have been alive and voting for the Bush elections, for the Obama elections, before anybody even thought of Trump as a political person. You're not going to tell me that you go from normal, functioning adult, understanding politics to an extent, to all of a sudden getting sucked in the MAGA pipeline and not knowing what reality is anymore. That sounds very bullshittish to me.
It is very efficacious, it's very effective, and it's very disciplined.
You know, there was a big study that happened a few years ago where people who are diehard Fox viewers didn't watch it for a month. All of them, 100%, believed and stopped believing in election denialism. Their positions about the Republican Party changed, all sorts of things. They were less likely to be susceptible to conspiracies. That was only 30 days. And it's not that they became converts, but it's that you create space for other stories of facts to get in there.
I can understand this a lot more if you're super young and you never voted, you're just now getting into politics, and you end up on that MAGA side of the algorithm or watching Fox for whatever reason. Or if you're super old, like already a boomer, already a senior citizen, and you just watch Fox News all the time. But for anybody in their 30s and 50s to be a regular functioning adult, and then all of a sudden Trump comes along and you forget everything you believed before, you forget all the reality you knew before, and you get caught up in the Trump distortion field, the MAGA distortion field, it's just hard to believe. That's a choice that you make. It doesn't just happen by accident.
They can air their grievances, denounce Trump all they want, but I'm speaking from personal experience that when I left MAGA in 2020, hated Trump, couldn't fucking stand him. My eyes were opened. I had gotten educated, deconstructed my religion, all the things I still fucked up and voted for him in 2020 because Democrats bad. Democrats bad. You know, I don't know what the answer is. Like, I'm not saying don't be mean to them. I'm not saying praise them. I'm just saying be aware that deconstruction has not started. Simply denouncing Trump is not deconstruction. Because if an election was today or even 6 months from now, like the midterms, they are most likely going to make the wrong decision again.
Seeing these grown-ass adults admit that they were tricked into the MAGA cult is really unbelievable. But like I said, at least they're coming out of it and speaking out against Trump, and maybe that'll help other people wake up. Because Trump is really driving this country off a cliff, and we need to put brakes on this runaway administration at all costs. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting, and thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.